As a college student struggling to make ends meet, I took up a part-time job working the graveyard shift at the local 7-Eleven store. It was a small store located in a quiet neighborhood, and most nights were uneventful. However, one night stands out in my memory as the scariest night of my life. It was around 2 a.m. when a man stumbled into the store, his eyes bloodshot and his movements unsteady. He made his way to the back of the store, muttering to himself incoherently. I watched him from behind the counter, feeling a cold chill run down my spine. As the man approached the counter with a pack of cigarettes, I noticed that his hands were shaking. He fumbled with his wallet, dropping a few bills on the floor. I reached down to pick them up, but as I did, I caught a glimpse of something that made my blood run cold. There, tucked into the man's wallet, was a photograph of a young woman, a woman who looked eerily similar to me. I felt a wave of panic wash over me as I realized that the man was staring at me with a strange intensity. I tried to remain calm as I completed the transaction, but as the man left the store, I couldn't shake the feeling that something was terribly wrong. I locked the door behind him and turned off the lights, the only sound in the store the hum of the fluorescent bulbs overhead. Suddenly, I heard a faint tapping coming from somewhere in the store. My heart racing, I grabbed a flashlight and cautiously made my way towards the sound. As I rounded the corner, I saw something that made my blood run cold. The man was back, standing at the end of the aisle, his eyes fixed on me. Before I could react, he lunged towards me, his face contorted in a twisted grin. I screamed and ran towards the back of the store, frantically searching for a way out. As I reached the back door, I heard the man's footsteps behind me, getting closer and closer. In a blind panic, I pushed open the door and ran into the night, the sound of his manic laughter echoing in my ears. I never looked back, too scared to see what horrors awaited me in that store. To this day, I can't shake the feeling that the man was something otherworldly, a specter from another realm that had crossed over into our world. And as I lay awake at night, I can still hear his voice whispering in my ear, a chilling reminder of the terror that lurks in the darkness of the night shift at 7-Eleven. I sat behind the counter at the 7-Eleven, the clock ticking away the minutes of my night shift. The store was quiet, the only sounds the soft hum of the fluorescent lights and the occasional beep of the register. I tried to keep myself entertained by scrolling through my phone, but a sense of unease had settled in the pit of my stomach. The darkness seemed to press in around me, the shadows twisting and shifting in strange ways. Every creak and groan of the store made me jump, my heart racing with fear. When the door chimed, I looked up, expecting to see a regular late-night customer. But the figure that entered froze me in my tracks. Dressed in tattered clothes, their face hidden in shadows, they moved with a slow, eerie gait. "Can I help you?" My voice came out in a shaky whisper, the figure not responding as they wandered through the aisles. I watched them with growing dread as they made their way towards the counter, their eyes fixed on me with an unsettling intensity. As they approached, a chill ran down my spine. Their movements were jerky and unnatural, their silence deafening. And when they finally stopped in front of me, a malicious grin spread across their face, sending a shiver of fear through me. I felt my heart pounding in my chest as the figure began to advance towards me. Panic surged through me, my hands shaking as I took a step back, the fear overwhelming. But just as suddenly as they had appeared, the figure stopped in their tracks, turning and shuffling out of the store without a word. I stood there, breathless and bewildered, unsure of what I had just witnessed. As I locked up the store for the night, the memory of the mysterious figure lingered, haunting me long after I had driven home. The feeling of otherworldly terror lurked in the shadows of the night, leaving me shaken and afraid. Working the night shift at the 7-Eleven was never easy, but one particular night stands out as the most terrifying experience of my life. It was a stormy night, with dark clouds covering the moon, casting an eerie glow over the empty streets. As I was stocking shelves in the back of the store, I heard a faint whispering coming from the aisles. I froze in place, listening intently, but couldn't make out any words. Brushing it off as my imagination, I continued with my duties, but the feeling of being watched lingered in the air. As the night wore on, strange things began happening in the store. Items would mysteriously fall off shelves, lights flickered on and off, and the temperature plummeted inexplicably. I tried to convince myself it was just a faulty electrical system or the storm outside, but deep down, I knew something was terribly wrong. As the clock struck midnight, I heard footsteps echoing through the store. I peered out from behind the counter, but there was no one in sight. Heart pounding, I grabbed a flashlight and cautiously made my way through the aisles seeming to stretch on forever in the dim light. Suddenly, I heard a blood-curdling scream coming from the back of the store. My heart racing, I ran towards the sound, only to find an empty aisle and a chilling silence hanging in the air. Just as I was about to turn back, a shadowy figure appeared before me, its eyes glowing an otherworldly shade of yellow. I tried to scream, but no sound came out as the figure reached out towards me with ghostly hands. Panicked, I turned and ran towards the front door, fumbling with the lock in my haste to escape. Just as I managed to unlock it, a bone-chilling voice whispered in my ear, "You can't escape me." Terrified, I burst through the door and out into the stormy night, the figure's laughter echoing in my ears. I never returned to that 7-Eleven, haunted by the memory of the ghostly presence that lurked within its walls. And to this day, I can't shake the feeling that something dark and malevolent still haunts the store, waiting for its next unsuspecting victim.